This helmet is barely over 200 bucks, but it feels like a $500 lid. So what's the catch? It's got features I didn't expect, performance that I didn't believe, and a price that makes no sense. So before you drop big money searching for a quiet helmet, especially if you're on a budget, check this one out first. So when I started motovlogging and recording my rides, the first thing that really jumped out at me was minimizing the wind noise that was coming through on the recordings. Now, I've watched a ton of videos on the best and quietest helmets out there, and there's a lot of really good ones, but they're all gonna cost you a pretty penny. Me, for good or bad, I've always ridden with pretty basic helmets. Nothing dangerous that wouldn't protect me, but I've always been content to live within the 150-ish range. A range that helmet snobs are gonna look down their nose at, for sure. And I'm sure you may be typing away frantically in the comments right now with some spicy words about my helmet choices. But it's a dollar range that has a sufficiently large number of helmets that live within that are perfectly well rated. They're gonna keep you protected and they're not gonna break the bank while doing it. The problem is, they're noisy. So back to motovlogging. That quest for wind reduction sent me on a quest to find the quietest, reasonably priced helmet out there. Now, the quietest helmets out there, they're gonna reduce the noise down to under 100 decibels. That's the HJC ARFA 91. It dampens noise all the way down to just 95 decibels. But it's gonna cost you over 550 bucks. So after a lot of searching and a lot of video watching, I think I might have found the best bang for the buck, and that's this Scorpion EXO-T520. And it's just barely over 200 bucks. And with it almost getting you under that magic 100 decibels, sitting right at about 101, I thought it was worth a shot. So let's take a closer look at it and test it out. Let's start with the basics, the build. This is like judging a burger by the bun. If that's no good, the rest doesn't matter. The EXO-T520 uses what Scorpion calls an advanced polycarbonate shell. Now, that may sound like the material Iron Man uses to build his leftovers, but in real terms, it means the helmet is lightweight and strong enough to eat some asphalt if it has to, hopefully without your head doing the same. And at around 3.6 to 3.8 pounds, depending on your size, it's not the lightest helmet ever made, but it doesn't feel like a neck workout either. I took this out on a full day ride through North Georgia, twisty roads, backcountry stops, a suspicious gas station hot dog from which I lived to tell the tale, and the helmet never became a burden. The finish is tight with no weird flex in the shell or rattly parts when you're opening the visor. And that liner, it's soft, like fancy hotel pillow soft. Scorpion calls it Quick Wick 2, but I call it Face Cloud. It's moisture wicking, hypoallergenic, fully removable, and washable, because helmet funk is real, and your nose deserves better. Now let's talk about airflow, because this is the difference between cool breeze on a summer day and why is my scalp on fire. Scorpion gave this thing a top vent, a chin vent, and rear exhaust ports, like a budget Iron Man helmet, except without all the AI assistant sass. And what's nice is these vents actually work. A lot of helmets say they ventilate, this one actually does. At say 40 miles an hour and up, you get that noticeable pressure release from the exhaust vents. It's like your head went from hot yoga to a breezy patio. Also, big win here, the vent sliders are glove friendly. I can ride and adjust airflow without looking like I'm trying to crack a safe.
What an absolutely miserable day to be testing a helmet. Sprinkling, I think I'm going to get stormed on at any moment, but here we are. So let's talk noise. So some helmets, really cheap ones, make your ride sound like you're going through a wind tunnel. And others, the really expensive ones that cut it way down, they make it sound like you're sitting in a library. This one, it's kind of in the middle. I'd say it's kind of like coffee shop. You can still hear all the ambient noise, but the wind is definitely cut down. And when shopping for a quiet helmet, I gotta give a shout out here to Champion Helmets. These guys are absolutely awesome. They have some of the best videos out there for helmet reviews when it comes to noise reduction that I've ever seen. Absolutely thorough. They hook it all up with wind meters and decibel meters and microphones going into the helmet, like pure science project stuff going on. Looks like we got some mowers up ahead of us. test our visor. Woohoo! Fighter pilot mode engaged. These guys are literally pulling into the parking lot that I was about to pull into and talk to you guys. We'll go down to this end. So as we mentioned in the intro, if you want to pay for the best helmet, that's going to be the Quietest. You're looking at the HJC ARFA 91, but you're going to pay through the nose for it. We're talking $550 to $600. And when it comes to helmets outside of that range, the T520 falls right up above that 100 mark, so right at 101. And in that range of helmets, this was the most cost-effective one. It's what I would call moderately quiet. So at 55, 65 miles an hour, you're still going to hear plenty of wind noise, but nothing like wind tunnel levels, right? It's more of a soft whoosh than a high-pitched roar. If you're doing long distance riding, I'd still say pack yourself a pair of earplugs if you're going to be doing highway speeds, just for your own safety of your hearing. But for me, the real sound test was, can I get my vlogging microphone, my Cardo Pack Talk microphone, and all those wires in here, and it still pick up the sound good and not pick up the wind like I'm rushing through a wind tunnel. So how's it doing so far? And we did take it out for a maiden voyage, sans all of the vlogging equipment, just to kind of get used to it and break it in. And that's where I discovered that I feel like I gotta shout all the time. So far so good. It is a little, I mean, it's definitely softer than my other helmet, wind noise wise. Still a good bit of wind noise at high speeds, like 45, 50 and up. But I mean, it's only a $225 helmet. So, you know, still get what you paid for, but it's still pretty good for the price. What I was just saying to Luke back here was, where I can notice we tell a big difference is when I'm not riding. Like when I'm just sitting here, like when we're just sitting here, the bikes are off, I can hear really well on my old helmet, like you're not even wearing a helmet. But even with the visor open on this helmet, it's still muffled, like I have earmuffs on. So it's definitely more encapsulated and blocking out the noise and the wind. But if you're not used to it, it feels like you can't hear yourself talking, so you feel like you got to shout. So it's one of those situations where you think you can't hear well, so you're shouting to everybody, and they're like, "Why are you shouting?" Anyway, let's keep going. Yes, it's a quieter helmet for the price point, but it also has to do a lot with how the helmet fits. So my older helmet, the liner had broken down. It had gotten a lot looser on my head, and so getting a new helmet, it's a lot snugger on my cheeks. I've got the chipmunk cheeks going on, and we've got a chin curtain on this one, which I didn't have before. So just generally speaking, it's gonna isolate the microphone a lot more and hopefully sound a lot better to you guys. Let's get some speed going and see how that sounds. So we're doing about 65. There is still considerable wind noise. I'm glad I didn't lay on the throttle right there, because I just passed a cop coming over that hill. That would have been bad.
Let's talk about this main shield first. It's got a central locking tab, so it makes things symmetrical and easy to reach, easy to lock down, easy to open up. The shield lifts smoothly, and it's got good, solid detents. Super easy to open and close, even with gloves on. Unfortunately, it's not pin lock ready out of the box, but they do make a pin lock ready visor for this helmet that you can buy separately. Now this sun visor, it's really nice. It's a game changer. It slides up and down really simply with this slider on the side. It could come a bit down more to cover the nose a bit more, but the shading is really good. It makes it really nice and easy to ride when you're facing the sun or riding at golden hour. It's better than most. It's not too dark, it's not too light, and it really cuts down on sun glare. That's been a big issue that I've found on lesser expensive helmets, that have the drop down visor, the glare of the sun makes them almost useless. But this one, chef's kiss. Okay, tech heads, this part's for you. The helmet is fully Bluetooth ready, which means it has speaker pockets pre-molded into the liner. I didn't have to carve out foam or perform surgery just to install my Cardo. Wiring tucks in clean, and there's just enough space in the chin for both my mics, but with the dead cat tickling my lips a little bit the entire time. There's also a version of this helmet that comes pre-installed with Scorpion's EXO-T520 Bluetooth unit. I didn't go that version obviously, but hey, plug and play is an option if you're not looking to mess with gear installs. Comfort is where this helmet really shines, because let's face it, if your helmet fits like a medieval torture device, none of the other features matter. The T520's intermediate oval shape fits my average American noggin really well. Gives me those nice chipmunk cheeks. And you want it to feel snug on your cheeks so the helmet can't slide around, but not enough pressure to give you a splitting headache. Because during that initial 15 to 20 hours of break-in, the liner's going to compress and conform to your noodle, and it'll loosen up about 15 or 20%. Speaking of which, the T520 comes with Scorpion's AirFit cheek pad inflation system, so as the cheek pads age and compress, you can air the bladder up to adjust them and keep them nice and snug. And this part confuses the hell out of me because I consider myself a smart guy, but here's the thing. These cheek pads are removable and there's nothing connecting them to the air pump. So does the air pump in through the snaps? I'm so confused. And I'm sure someone's going to tell me what an idiot I am in the comments, and that's perfectly fine. Bottom line, the cheek pads are fully removable and the AirFit pump system still works just fine. The top liner is breathable and it doesn't trap heat, which I appreciate in the Georgia humidity. It's also worth noting the helmet's balance is really solid. You don't feel like you're trying to tip forward or pull back while riding, and that makes a huge difference over time. Also, no pressure points. That's huge. And bonus, emergency release cheek pads. Hopefully you never need them, but if you do, that feature can save time and trouble for paramedics. For me, noise was really the guiding factor in shopping for this helmet, but let's talk about what really matters in a helmet: safety. The T520 is both DOT and ECE 2206 rated. That means it'll pass crash test standards in both the US and in Europe. Now, it's not Snell rated, but at this price point, just over $200, that's definitely not a deal breaker. For most riders, DOT and ECE are really good indicators of real-world crash protection. For retention, it uses a classic double D-ring strap, which is still the gold standard for track and street use. It's secure, it's simple, and it doesn't wear out like some of those quick release tabs. But if you prefer the quick release mechanism, you can buy an adapter on Amazon to switch your D-rings into a quick release. Another nice touch is it's got a little bit of reflective material at the base of the neck roll, so cars coming up behind you with their headlights on can see you pretty clearly. It's nothing flashy, but a little extra visibility never hurts. Now here's where things get interesting. The price. At around $200 to $225, this helmet punches way above its weight class. You're getting premium features like a drop-down sun visor, speaker cutouts, that AirFit pump system, emergency release cheek pads, and a plush liner. Stuff that's usually reserved for lids that are $350 and above. And here's the thing. If you're just starting out and you want better than the ultra-budget entry-level stuff, this is a sweet spot helmet. It's not trying to compete with $600 race lids, and it doesn't have to. It's giving you 90% of that experience at a third of the cost. It's comfortable out of the box, it's got excellent airflow, and the safety certifications you want in a helmet. But the cons? Yeah, it's still not the quietest helmet on the block, but it's way quieter than it has any business being at this price. And no Snell rating. But ECE covers most concerns for street riders, and that's really it. I had to really nitpick just to find those cons, which tells you something. If you're a commuter, a weekend warrior, or a budget-conscious rider who still wants premium touches, this helmet may be right in your wheelhouse. It may not be the best of the best for the track racer crowd or people trying to impress anyone at bike night with their carbon fiber weave pattern, but if you want comfort, safety, and features that make your life easier, this one's a winner. Here's the bottom line. I didn't expect to like this helmet as much as I do. I bought it thinking it's supposed to be pretty quiet, it's only $200, so why not? Let's give it a shot. Now, it's my go-to. It's comfortable, it looks good, it works well with my comms, and it didn't annihilate my wallet. And if I lost it tomorrow, I'd probably replace it with the same exact model. And that's probably the highest praise you can give any piece of gear. And look, I'm not here to push this helmet on anyone, and I certainly don't get anything out of this. So I encourage you to always do your own research. But I do think this is useful information for the community, especially if you're recording your rides, and especially if you're on a budget. If you've got any questions about this helmet, or if you want to see how I got all those comm wires hidden into the helmet, just drop a comment in the comments below. I made a video on the subject for my old helmet a while ago, and it might be due for an update. In the meantime, ride hard, stay salty, and we'll see you in the next one.